Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the JR Wedding Podcast. My name's Owen, I am actually a wedding videographer and I'm here with my co-partner and my mother, Caroline, who is also a wedding photographer.
Hello.
And today we've actually got a wedding celebrant on in Debbie. Hello Debbie, How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm good. It's actually quite nice to have someone on it's a little bit kind of different to what people usually expect from a traditional wedding in terms of like churches and things like that. So I think bringing a celebrant on, I think it was fantastic to be able to explore other avenues and how people can have their weddings.
We've worked with a few celebrants actually, and yeah, it's just something completely different and something that people don't even think about.
They don't. So, there's no such thing as standard. I mean, you can still have what looks like a traditional ceremony.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, generally the couple still walk up the aisle.
Yeah.
You can have a commitment certificate, so it can, on the front of it, still look like a traditional ceremony. However, there's no such thing as standard. There's never a ceremony that's ever the same.
We've had one wedding actually, a few years back now, and the couple were going to work over in China, and they have to be married to go and live together.
Wow.
Where they work. So they did a secret ID. No one knew. Mm-hmm. And then they had obviously went to work over in China. And then they organised the wedding back at home, but nobody knew they were married apart from like the immediate family. So, like you say, on the front of it, you wouldn't even know.
I think people don't realise they may have already been to a celebrant-led wedding without actually knowing.
Yeah.
So the only giveaways when you have a registrar-led wedding is there's two of them. There's somebody at the table doing the legalities, the paperwork. I think there's a big myth about having a celebrant. We're not all woo-woo and, you know, doing hippy-dippy, you know, rituals. It doesn't have to be like that. Of course you can have... I don't like saying rituals. I prefer elements. Because rituals, I always think it sounds a little bit satanic.
I think it's nice, actually.
It sounds a bit like witchcraft, doesn't
it?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I know it's Halloween in a couple of days.
Very alternative.
On theme.
You say, you got your themes, very alternative.
Yeah.
So we had one last year and they did a hand fasting. Mm-hmm. They did a sand mixing. And they had a really, really... it was a pagan. That was it. It was a pagan.
Right, okay, pagan.
It's a pagan service. So they had a celebrant.
Did they do jumping the broom? That's one from out. I quite like that
they
one.
Did.
Yeah.
And they had that big theme.
Yeah.
It was a winter wedding. It was absolutely
But you wouldn't
amazing.
get that if you were to have a registrar because you are governed by what you can and can't have.
Yeah.
You know, a celebrant, you can make it like a circus if you want to.
Yeah.
You know, that if that's how crazy you want to be, but it's got to be you. You know, so you know each couple, if they like cheese tasting or they like wine tasting, you can have it in your ceremony somehow or other.
Yeah.
My first ceremony last November, I had a music quiz. I took all clipboards in and I put 15 songs throughout the ceremony, just basically to make sure that everybody was paying attention.
Yeah.
And, you know, I said there was a bottle of bubbly at the end of it, and it was just a little bit of fun. Just a little bit of fun.
Complete opposite, we've had one together this year.
Yes.
It was the most beautiful service. It was set in a vineyard.
Yeah.
Just outside Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
So on a hill where you can see the whole of Shrewsbury and it's on its glory.
Stunning.
The weather was absolutely perfect.
It was spot on, wasn't it?
Perfect. The flower decorations, oh my God, it looked like a meadow. It was beautiful.
It was amazing.
So it's not all that, it's alternative.
Oh gosh, no.
It can be as beautiful.
It was
completely
it was
different.
classic, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
It was simple, it was stylish, and it was classic. It was elegant. It was elegant.
But most of all, I think it was personal.
It was.
So
absolutely.
They had, rather than having, a lot of people we talk about is unplugged weddings now.
Yeah.
So we talk, couples don't want to see your faces, they don't want to see their phones out and things like that. So you did this really, really cool thing. You went, right, okay, that's it. You've got 1 minute to take your photos.
Yeah.
Like, everyone up. Yeah. And they're all... And
that's pacified everybody.
Yeah, but everyone got really creative with it, didn't they?
Well,
even mum of the groom.
Yeah, Callum's mum was absolutely loving it. And it was...
Yeah.
So when I met Callum and Sophie, there was a couple of things. I'd not met them before. They'd come to me through a wedding planner. So I was a little bit like, oh, crikey, this is, high end. I didn't need to feel like that whatsoever. So we met and we had coffee and we just hit it off straight away. Yeah. And they said they knew straight away that we were going to get on. But there were things they said they wanted a 20-minute ceremony, no longer, because they didn't want it to be all boring and dragging out. And they definitely wanted it unplugged because that was the one thing they didn't want. They didn't want to see people's phones. They want to see their faces. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you've got you guys there. So they don't. What? How can an iPhone, with Uncle Fred at the back waving it about be better than you? So, but it was for them. It was easy because Callum was a big Instagram, and a lot of the friends they love all of that, and people do love it. So it pacified them. It quenched their thirst. They got their photographs. And it set a tone for the ceremony, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
But they played to it.
They played to it.
Sophie and Callum played to it. They were putting faces, they were doing poses, and
we got a cheeky selfie at the end.
Yeah. But it was very different because them doing that very different photos for that 1 minute, those different poses, things like that, it made it different to what we were capturing.
Yes.
So again, it really, really worked.
Yes, it did. And you could see they visibly relaxed.
Yes.
And the congregation visibly relaxed. They were like, right, okay, this is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, most of the time when you sit down for a ceremony, people are like, oh, hurry up, let's get to the bar. Yeah. When's the food going to be out?
Yeah.
Because people want to have a good time and they want to relax and chat to other people. They don't want to listen to
but
me.
Also, obviously we do a lot of weddings.
You do.
Some of it's really boring.
Yeah.
To be honest, we've had registrars, not naming any names, they just stand there and they've got such a monotone voice and it's do. And some make a bit of a joke of it and make it more very light-hearted. Yeah. You get some that are very miserable.
So when it comes down to couples choosing between a registrar and a celebrant, what is actually the difference? For people who don't know, there is a big difference. And what if you can kind of elaborate and explain to some of our viewers what is the difference between the two?
I will try. So basically, the negative is I can't legally marry.
Okie dokie.
However, the positive is I've got a lot more freedom. So what you need to do if you want to legally be married, because not everybody does, they still want the ceremony to look on the face of it like, like they're married, but they might not want to be.
They want a wedding without the commitment.
Yeah, you can do that. And that's what some people want to do. There's no hard and fast rules. So you need to go to the registry office, your local registry office, book well in advance, and you can do what is called a 2+2 ceremony. So it's you and your partner and 2 witnesses. It's a 20-minute ceremony. I think it's approximately £100, and it's basically your legality's done. You've got your paperwork. It's a bit, they do births, deaths and marriages. Mm-hmm. So it's very much a form-filling exercise. Yeah. It's a bit like, I'm trying to sort of educate people, and it's a bit like you do not celebrate the day you get your birth certificate. You celebrate the birthday. You don't celebrate the day you exchange contracts when you're buying a house. You celebrate the day you get your house.
When you move in.
When you move in. Yeah. So, but it's just trying to educate that. So with a registrar-led wedding, it is very formal. You are governed with what your full name. So, for instance, if you are Becky and Rich, known to everybody, you would have to be Rebecca and Richard. They can be Becky and Rich with me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It makes so it's a lot less formal. However, if you still want it to be that way, it can be. Mm-hmm. So we just have a lot more freedom. Also, I only ever do one ceremony a day. As registrars, particularly on a Saturday, we'll have 5 or 6.
Yeah,
we know that we've had registrars come and then gone. They're arriving a little bit late than what they normally do, and they're going right. We need to be really, really quick because we've got to go to the next wedding. We need to be at such place at this time. And they're saying to us, just limit your photos when you're doing, obviously signing the register, blah blah, and we need to get gone. So I'm thinking, hang on, my couple we have to rush everything because they have got another wedding to go to.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like you could be doing a wedding from 2:00 and they could have done another 2 before that. Those other 2s could have been late.
Yeah.
The 12:00 one could have been late, which has a knock-on effect to one, which then carries on from having a knock-on effect for them for the rest of the day. So,
and it happens. Things don't quite go to plan. We know this.
Yeah.
But it makes no difference to me because I only ever have one ceremony a day. Yeah. It's a really important 20 minutes, half an hour. It's the kickstart to your day.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But I think actually it's the joining of two people.
Absolutely.
It's a celebration of joining of two
It's about
people.
them.
It is about them. And
It
I
is.
think within the wedding industry, like we've just done a podcast on social media, and how people get lost in actually what it means.
It does.
So yes, having the legality of do you take that, fab.
And that's interesting because when you do all of this planning, and there's a lot of planning, and that's another thing I need to mention. When you have a registrar-led wedding, a lot of people don't realise they will get interviewed on that day, shortly before they're getting married.
Mm-hmm.
Now, personally, it's very medieval because I think anybody in their right mind, when has spent 18 months planning a wedding, is not being coerced into being married. I understand why they've got it in place, but for goodness sake, do it another time, not on the wedding day.
Well, this is the thing. A lot of the paperwork now is done before.
Yeah, so why do they need to do that?
Years ago, I remember when they signed the registrars would turn around and say no photos because the legal documents.
Yeah.
You are, yes, there's obviously legal information there, but we couldn't photograph. But because of all the stuff was done before now, it is just a little bit of a tick box exercise now.
Yeah.
So they close the book and then you can have your fake photos signing.
Yeah, but now
signing
you can take photos. But so the difference is, it's not legal.
Yeah.
From a registrar that is legal, but you, like I say, you can go and do it on a Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. You and two people.
And that's also another thing that's nice. Say you've got some people that can't come to the wedding. Perhaps you've got some grandparents that it would be too much for. Perhaps you've got people that have got, they would find it difficult to be in a crowd. You could take them as your witnesses. You can make it. You can make it their day. Make it special. Go for a picnic. Go for lunch. And you can make that day. You can either make it just a legal formality, or you can make something of it.
Yeah.
So you can look at it in different ways. So don't feel like you're doing the registrar signing a disservice, because we need the registrars.
Yeah.
We need them. And, they do a sterling job. But their job is that. My job is to make sure that my couples feel happy, content. And like you say, it's a union, it's a joining. And I think when they've been so busy organising this wedding, they sort of almost forget a little bit why they're doing it. Yeah. And I think this is why when you see the raw emotion, when the bride walks up the aisle and their partner's there and they suddenly see them and they suddenly go, oh, this is really happening.
Well, it's like the Callum. Callum started to cry.
He did, and he was never going to.
No. Yeah, I did not think he would.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
And what happened?
And I said, so soon, Callum.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing as well, because you get to know your couple a lot.
Yeah,
we chat, we meet up. I mean, it was great meeting them too, because I kept going to have gin and tonics.
So obviously, if we get this down, so it's not illegal. No. It's more personal. So
Absolutely.
Like you say, you can do different types of services that it's the need of the couple.
Yeah, well, I'll add on that, because in terms of, from my point of view with video, I use a lot of audio to make the films, and the amount of times I listen to the same vows over and over. I could probably go through them all right now. I'm not going to, because again, it is really boring.
Go on, please. Put on the spot.
But yeah, it's like a carbon copy each time when you have a registrar.
It shouldn't be.
Because I actually remember, I think I had a couple on the same day. They had a celebrant on the same day about 10 o'clock. They went and got married. Same day, came across.
Yeah.
Because some people want to get married on a specific day.
And also a specific time. Now, a lot of people now with the registrars, they'll go, okay, I want to get married on the 30th of August, 2026. Okay, then, brilliant. What times have you got? Oh, we've got a 2 o'clock or a 11 o'clock. Oh, can we not do 1 o'clock? No, we can't.
No, someone's already booked it.
So someone's already booked it. So you're like, well, I don't want to do a 2 o'clock, or I don't want to do a 3 o'clock. I definitely want to do an 11 o'clock, something I want to do really, because I've got 8 bridesmaids to get ready and blah, blah, blah.
Depending on the time of year, you probably don't want a 3 and a 4, because it's...
You're very governed.
You're very governed to what they've got available.
Yeah, it's very rigid. It's very much a format. And if you don't fit that format, or doesn't suit you, then that's it, isn't it? That's it. Whereas it just doesn't work like that, does it?
No.
Yeah, because when you do have a celebrant, you can say your own vows. You can do your personal,
or not, as the case may be.
Well, some might just want to do the repeating part, but it's different and it is more personal. But then some people do want to have their own vows.
Yeah,
which I understand with the registrar it costs quite a lot more.
Yeah, because they have different packages.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't do that.
No, I don't think there's any point.
Because why you should, if somebody wants a simple ceremony, fine. If they want it to be elaborate, if they want to do their own vows, I will always help them do their vows. People don't know where to start.
No.
So I send some out, and I say, like, do you know what? I send this out, so you go, absolutely not. I am definitely not agreeing to that. I'm not saying that, because I think it's a good. Then it just starts the ball rolling, doesn't it? Starts the creative juices flowing.
Yeah, but I also think. I was bored the other day, and I was doing my ironing, and I was watching. I know Sex and the City 2, and a thing that got me. They were saying, was it 1 or 2? And they were saying, we can write our own vows, but we can't write our own rules. Now I'm thinking, if you aren't the type of couples to go, I want to love, honour, obey, blah blah blah, but you've got that quirkiness between you that. I will promise to always put the toilet seat down.
Yes. Perfect.
I will always make sure that the bed is warm, and I can put my cold feet on your, on your legs to warm them up. Little things like that actually mean most to the couple, and those promises that they can be light-hearted. They're not I'm going to honour you and obey you and everything like that.
They're sort of not fake promises, but generally hard to stick to, aren't they?
Yeah.
Some of them really. Yeah, it's not realistic.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm not going to obey James, and James doesn't obey me.
No.
I would quite happily say I will always warm my cold feet on your legs.
Yeah.
Always do that.
That's where I think like the Americans and the Aussies have it a little bit different, because they do they have officiants.
Australia, they can legally marry.
Yeah.
And Scotland, you can legally marry.
In Scotland, you can?
Yeah, they can. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there will be training for it. And like my husband says, do you not want to legally marry people? And I said, I will if it becomes available that we can do it. Yeah. However, I really like the freedom I've got.
Yeah.
At the moment, I don't have to do a format.
I
don't have to do any of that. So I can literally, I can. And when I meet couples, generally they don't know what they want. Mm-hmm. So I'll say, what don't you want?
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, I don't want it to be soppy. I don't want it to go on for ages. So what I also do is when I write my script, I read it to my couples. I don't send it out to them, because it's for them.
It's different reading
it
and
then
it.
Someone reading it.
It's
completely different.
So different. So I know we're talking about Callum and Safers, but we all know them. So it's, I read it to them, and it's just great, because I'm like, do you want that word or do you want this? Or I said it, and then I could see it sparked emotion. They giggled. And Sophie said at the end of the whole the chat, do you want to send it to me? And I said, yeah, I can do. I said, don't always. And she said, no, don't. I don't want it, actually. She said, I want it to keep it sparkle. And I just thought, that's
well, because the thing is, she could read that and then read it and read it and read it.
Overthink it.
And overthink it. But then it won't have any meaning at the end of it, because she'd have read it so many times.
So she was absolutely spot on when she said it keeps it sparkle. And I thought, I'm going to use that, because it's right. And their ceremony was pretty traditional in many ways, apart from the express photo shoot. And we did have banter, and it was just nice that...
But they had personal vows as well.
They did have personal vows, but it's down to the fact that, like, Sophie's bridesmaids were the students that I'd said about them going out partying, and they started giggling straight away in the front row, so I knew it was them.
Yeah.
But because I'd been chatting to Sophie and Callum, if I'd have not known them, I wouldn't have known it was the bridesmaids that she went to college with.
Yeah.
So it's having that connection that helped. And also going back to the vows, they both were supposed to independently tell me their vows, because what I tried to do, I match them up, because I don't make sure that one's not really soppy and one's really funny. Just make sure that they got. I say, well, he's got, you could give me a little bit more, and you could bring a bit more, and then that way, because neither of them knew what each other was saying on the day, which was lovely.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
Yeah, it is.
And it just makes it again. It just makes it warm.
Yeah.
It just makes it,
a warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yeah, I want to add one other point of view is that, because obviously if you want to get married in a venue, you're governed by the venues because they have to be licensed.
Yes.
So again, if you were turning around and going, actually, I just want to get married at home. Mum's got a beautiful back garden. Can we get married in there? Registrars, no, you can't.
No.
Okay, can I get married on the beach? No, you can't. But with you, like say, you can do that 20-minute little service, you and two people. But But then you can have that beautiful wedding on the beach.
Yeah,
you can have it in the middle of, I don't know, Upper Forest. Or
I did a party
wherever.
in a pub. In fact, the pub is the same pub. I'm doing 2 weddings there next year. They've got a room upstairs. It's lovely. It's a country pub. They're both couples that, in later years, and they've lived their life, and they want a wedding, they want a celebration, but they don't want a venue as such.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, the party in the pub was prosecco and bacon rolls. It was lovely, and it was exactly that. It was the party in the pub.
It can appeal to any couple with any budget. I think
absolutely.
That's something that is really important.
Yeah, it is. And where's special to you?
Well,
like you say, your mum's garden.
Yeah.
Venues are fabulous, and they you can go there and you're really looked after, and you've got aesthetically it's beautiful. But if it doesn't sing to you literally, it should be somewhere that it has an emotional connection. Doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's what exactly it should be.
Definitely not this corporate venue or this venue that you think you should get married at.
No, exactly, and that is the difference, isn't it? You can have. I've seen people get the Morris Hall in Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
It looks fab in photographs, yet you wouldn't think of it as somewhere you go and do Zumba.
Yeah.
But it looks great in the photographs. It's, it's just, and it's having that little bit of imagination, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I say if you're very creative and things like that as well.
Yeah.
So take us through the process of how, so a couple freshly comes up to you and sort of they book you in and everything like that. Take us through what are the next steps after that in terms of being in contact. And
so generally when a couple makes contact with me, I would always like to speak to them. I wouldn't ever book anybody without speaking to them. I need them to know that we are the right match.
Yeah.
I know I'm marrying them, but they need to be looking to me for trust, to know them, to get them. Similar sense of humour. Yeah. So that's what I initially do. Then we set up a WhatsApp group between the 3 of us. Generally, there's always the party that we chat more and send each other little ideas, chat anything they're concerned about. In fact, we basically become really good friends.
Which is good.
And that's how you build up this big picture of what's going to be. And like, I might see things and think, what do you think about this? And how have you thought about that? Yeah. And can I suggest this? We meet for coffee, we meet for drinks, wherever suitable. But always, we keep the lines of communication open. I send out a couple questionnaire. The more you give me, the more I've got content for your script. Once the script's written 12 weeks before, I will read it to my couple. So then we can just go through some finer points. And because they might have a best man that they might want to tease, or somebody in the congregation. I'm just like, do you think there's anybody in there that can do that for me? And I've had this idea. So that's how it keeps going. And ideas evolve. One couple I'm marrying next year, they're both Keen Am drummers.
Okay.
Hoping to get a flash mob organised. I'm hoping, but I want it that the bride doesn't know what they're going to sing and at what point.
Love Actually style.
Exactly.
I've had that a couple of times. We've had
we've had
it in church.
One in church.
Oh,
I've had 2. So I've had one. It was a winter wedding. They're all into a local theatre and everything like that. And we were talking just off camera before about being as a supplier, being emotionally connected.
Oh my goodness, yes.
To our couples and to their day and everything. And it was the day after my mum passed away. And it was at our local church, which was my nan's church. It's where me and James got married, and it was just everything was connecting with me. And I love Christmas. It's just my favourite time of year. And they had a Christmas song as their second hymn. Fab. But then people just started bobbing up. I know, bobbing up. I'm not sure. It was Hark the Herald Angels. It was one of the big Christmas songs.
Big Christmas carol.
Oh my God! It just brought tears to my eyes. Oh, it was just.
Do you know what? Music is so emotive. I'm sorry to bang on about registrars, but you can't have anything religious. So you couldn't have My Sweet Lord by George Harrison or anything like that. But I did a wedding last November, and it was a surprise Christmas wedding at Stanford.
Okay.
So the girl, Caitlin, wasn't very well, and Cindy offered her the gift of a wedding. And I got in touch with Andy O'Brien, and I said, would you come in and sing Wonderwall halfway through? And he was like, how's this going to work? And he didn't know me then, and he said, I should have just trusted you. He said, the minute I met you, I knew it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful moment. It makes me emotional now. There was about 80 of us in there, and everybody sang Wonderwall. Yeah. All in Christmassy stuff. It was ace. It was just, but again, it's just, they didn't know they were having it, and they loved it. I spoke it, I passed it through with Caitlin's parents, said, do you think I'll be all right? And they were like, oh my goodness, yeah, because they're big music fans. Yeah. Hence the music quiz. But yeah, it's just having different elements, and it just makes it special. Yeah. So I completely forgot what we were talking about question-wise.
So yeah, you'd meet somebody. You'd obviously WhatsApp group.
Always have chat.
Yeah, always. And sometimes I can get a little bit crazy with ideas, and sometimes they can. And then we go, oh, it's starting to look a bit like a cert. Yeah. You go down the TikTok hole. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Which is good, but it's too easy. And then you're like, should we just rein it back in a bit? You know? Okay, then. And this is that's how it works, really. Yeah. Yeah. And also, you know, I will also do a rehearsal. If the venue allows, we do a rehearsal because, yes, okay, I've done quite a lot of weddings and I know where everybody stands, but they don't. Or they haven't done it for a long time. They may have been married before.
I say going to a wedding and having it as your wedding is very, very different.
Yeah, very different. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it's like, did you meet up with them to go through like kind of writing out what the vows are going to be and because I know you'll probably do like a monologue and kind of their story and things like that. So how do you kind of get the ideas for all that?
Just by talking to them.
Just by talking.
Just talking to them, listening to what their hobbies are, and it's your choice, isn't it? And you can have whatever you want.
Yeah.
Also, what I was going to say, when Callum did say to me, it's got to be 20 minutes, when I read it to them, they were obviously over the moon with everything. And I said, I've got bad news for you, though, Callum. I said, it's 24 minutes. Oh. But that was okay, because I think he was just basically trying to instill that he didn't want it to be a 45-minute ceremony.
Yeah. So kind of going back to kind of the initial question, taking it through. So obviously you meet up with them, you get just by talking to them, that's how you'll kind of discuss that. You build their story. So you're taking notes throughout, and
I take notes. I do voice. I voice record everything because I can't write, talk, and listen all at the same time. You know. Yeah. It's a lot to take, and it's also good as well to go back to without having to pester them over things, and also I can pick up on.
So you let them know I'm going to record.
Yeah. Always.
I'll do a little recording session just so you know. Yeah. See, that's really nice. Because imagine having that, but then also filming that, and having that in their wedding film. See that makes me think of.
That's a good idea.
Oh, you're always thinking.
That makes it. Well, I know a video. Oh, Dennis is back and he's getting restless, and Henry's here as well. Obviously,
that's a really good idea.
Because I think I've seen a videographer over in, I want to say the US. And he does story sessions with them. So he sits them down, they go through kind of their story and things like that. So there's a little bit of audio in there, a few little kind of B-roll clips of them going for a walk or down the beach or something like that. And then you get that bit and then it fades to the wedding day. I've seen stuff like that. So that kind of reminds me of that. But that's what makes it, again, more personal to each person.
Definitely. Also, with the rehearsal, the night before, I get to meet the dad, the best man, the bridesmaids. They get to know me, and it's so much more casual. You know, I turn into Frank, the wedding planner, a little bit with the music. I try and time it that the bridesmaids walk at the certain time. Yeah. So and so walk, and everybody, you can visibly see that people relax. And I've had it, bridesmaids. I said, "Do you want to do it again? Oh, do you mind?" No, I don't mind. Yeah. You're doing this, not me. I can stand at the front as long as you need me to. Yeah. But for you to be able to walk up that, and how do I know? I give you a nod.
Again, going back onto that. Now, I did a wedding at Hawkston Hall this summer, and we had 4 bridesmaids and a bridesman, and a couple of flower girls, and they were going, okay, so the bride was with the registrar, and they were going, okay, when do I go? When do I go? And they're working out where they stand and how long they've got in between everyone walking down, and making sure you don't have to walk too fast, because then that put the timings out. Because no one practice that. No. In a church you do. You go and do a rehearsal. Yeah. Normally if you get married on a Saturday, it's normally about the Wednesday or Thursday before. So you practice walking down the aisle. They practice when you say, but obviously if it's a registrar,
nothing.
You don't. No. You don't. No. So and I kept on saying to the bridesmaids and the bridegroom, don't overthink it. Yeah. You're overthinking it now. Stop it.
Well, they don't want to feel silly.
This is it.
And they don't want to stand in the wrong place. And you know, you can. as I say, you can literally see when we first start doing the rehearsal, they're all like, oh, literally doing like a funeral march down the aisle going, do I do step together? No, you just walk, but just go slowly.
Just nice and quiet.
And however slow you think you're going, just go a little bit slower. Or if it's really funky music, dance down the aisle.
Yeah.
There's no, that's...
Yeah.
I've had a few brides, I've had quite a few brides surprise me. Like, they chose this music and they dance down the aisle and I love it. I love it.
I've had a couple of flower men.
Have you?
Yeah, I've had a few flower men.
But a few rogue flower girls, they go off. Petals are everywhere, but it's fine.
Oh, have to say this. We had one the other week. It was a page boy, and he walked down. He was at Cumbermere Abbey, actually, beautiful venue, just on the border of Cheshire. And he walked in, and he had a basket, and he just went like and just tipped the whole basket on the floor. Just turned it upside down, tipped it all out, and you can see he was walking in with Grandma, and she just looked and went, and you can see that. Oh my God,
brilliant.
And
but that's kids.
Oh my God, I was in stitches. Yeah. I was in stitches.
And so you're talking about it now.
Yes.
So this makes it memorable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really, really does.
And that's what it should be.
Yeah.
And that's another thing with the ceremony. I love it when people say to me, either A, it's the best ceremony they've been to, which is obviously lovely. I'm just going there giddy with Prosecco. But people, well, for instance, when I did at Stanford, the dad actually said, I didn't want that to end.
Yeah.
And that's lovely.
Yeah.
Isn't that lovely? If somebody says that, because normally, as I say, they can't wait to get out and get to the bar.
Yeah. And not personal, really
and
boring.
And chat to all their friends, because that's what they're there for, to see family and friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ceremony should be the start and set a tone.
Yeah.
It sets a vibe, doesn't it?
It's funny, isn't it? Because when you do obviously readings in a church, it's more obviously it's religious. They normally do certain ones of Genesis and all Christian. Yeah. And then to make more personal, you get, obviously, if you've got a registrar, a civil service, they will add people that come up and do the readings.
Yeah.
And that's their way of adding more personality into their wedding. And I've heard so many good poems that are really, really funny and quirky and things like that.
Lyrics from a song.
So if you can imagine that, but that's your whole wedding.
Yeah.
That just sounds absolutely perfect. So I want to say, people are going to be thinking about it, sitting, hopefully, listening to this and going, actually, I quite like that. This is something about, this is us. This is me and my other half. This is what I really, really fancy, actually. Cost-wise.
Well,
are we looking to, obviously, you have got that little £100 of you going to do your 2+2.
Yeah.
What about then for you? Is it...
So,
if you don't mind talking about prices and stuff.
I don't mind. At the end of the day, everybody's got a budget. They've got costs. I charge $650.
Well,
so, and there's no added extras for this, no added extras for that. If you get a rehearsal the night before, great. If it's obviously there's mileage. If there's somewhere far away, fine. I understand that that's realistic. That's cost. But I believe I haven't looked, but the Shropshire registrars are $550.
Okay.
When they come out to a licensed venue. So if I'm $650, that's £100 for your 2+2. But their next package, which allows you to choose something or other, I can't even remember what.
It's probably their vows, I think.
I think it is.
Because I've spoke to a couple
but they're bespoke ceremonies, which is what I do. I think they're at least £1,100, and you still don't get to meet your registrar. You might meet them. You don't get to choose your registrar still. So you might be able to get to write your own vows and choose your own readings. So in that comparison, apples for apples quotes, they're $1,100 and I'm $650.
I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's a no-brainer. In terms of budget.
You can't put a price on quality.
Do you know what? It just keeps going on in my mind. You doing your 2+2, and if you've got grandparents that can't travel to that wedding, how beautiful that is.
What makes them feel special, and that's the bit that they want, isn't it? Grandparents, or that is what they want to see. That they know that their child is, in the eyes of God or whoever, is, they are legally married, isn't it? So, again, it's just trying to change people's perception and train of thought.
Yes.
My brother-in-law got married 10 years ago, and this is when I was doing hair, and I was doing my sister-in-law's hair, and they had a nightmare because they were getting married at Albright Hussey, and the registrars had a clash. Now, I didn't understand any of this as well. This is 10 years ago. and they couldn't do the afternoon. So what Rob and Karen had planned to do was have the celebrant-led ceremony, slope off for 20 minutes in the afternoon whilst everybody's having their drinks, and do the legal bit, which sounds lovely. No, that didn't work. The registrars couldn't do that. Rob and Karen had to get married that morning. Poor old Karen still got her hair in rollers. And she said, anyway, I won't go into the details, but basically she had to chuck a dressing gown on, go downstairs with her hair in rollers or chuck a dress on and go and get married legally with my mother-in-law as the witness because they had to try and find witnesses.
Oh, you need witnesses, don't you? Yeah.
To then come back up and then...
Get ready and then do it again.
Yeah, it was just all a bit of a... It was very unsettling for her. She was a bit like, what do I do? I don't want to keep banging on poor registrars. I don't mean it like that, but it's just...
What we're doing, we're opening your eyes. Now, we had a lovely lady phone us up and said, hi, we're looking for a photographer. Set the right price for one.
Here I am.
And she goes, we're just getting married in the registry office. And I said, okay then. And I said, she goes, we just want literally a few photos. And I was like, okay, will you be our witnesses as well? And I was like, what? I said, you sure? Do you want to just have I said, well, we'll do a couple of photos. That's not a problem. I said, but obviously you want people that is personal to you to be there. She went, no. She goes, I'd quite happily have you. And I was talking her out of it. I was going, no, you're spending money now. You don't need to spend money. Just have some friends or, family or anything. They went, no, okay. Well, I think we'll get back to you. Literally a day or two later, she phoned us and said, I really want you and I want you to be our witnesses. And I was gone, okay then. And we went to the registry office. They're gardeners and they're both still in their gardening clothes.
Wow.
And because they own a gardening business. They got married. She had Doc Martens on with jeans, did the 2+2. We were the witnesses. We took about 30 photos after and they went, cheers, thanks for that. We're going back to work now.
How amazing.
And I was like, oh my God. It was just so bizarre. But I said, why didn't you want other? She goes, they would just dumb my head in.
Yeah.
They'd just be gone. They'd be trying to talk me out. And I said, well, but I was talking about it. She goes, yeah, but you were talking me out of not spending money, not talking me out of, oh no, you should be spending more money on this and doing this and doing this and doing this. You don't want a registry office, you need this. She goes, no, I don't want that. I just literally, it was in their lunch break.
They knew what they wanted.
This is it.
They knew what they wanted.
This is why we do. This is why we do this podcast. We're showing couples out there. You don't have to be pigeonholed.
No. Look, you choose your dress, you choose your suit, you choose your venue, you choose everything. You choose your photographers, videographers. Why should you not have a choice over your ceremony and how you want it to fit? That's another thing I say to people. How do you want it to feel? Yeah. You might not know how you want it to look, but how do you want it to feel? And they say, well, I just want to marry him. I want to marry my best friend. Well, let's make it about that then. Yeah. And that's exactly what it should be. And involve who you want in the... If you want to involve other people in it, do that. Yeah. So the commitment certificate, some people want it, some people don't want it. It's too much of a formality. Have a secret witness. If you can't make up your mind and make a big deal out of it, if we have them, we're going to upset them. I'll put some cards under the chairs. It makes great photographs because everybody's got the bums in the air. And that way it involves, it's just, again, another light-hearted but simple way of just bringing everybody together and having a bit of a giggle. Without making it like a circus.
I think that's perfect,
it is brilliant.
So as always, we're just going to try and end it this way in terms of, have you got any top tips that you can definitely give a couple in terms of getting married?
Start planning.
Looking at,
I would always say, get your venue, get your photographer. I'm not sucking up. Get your venue, get your photographer, book your registrar in advance if you can do a 2+2 ceremony because they are getting booked up because they are limiting what they're doing. And I understand why, it's revenue. But book a celebrant. There is only one of me. Yeah. And I will only do one ceremony a day. And it makes me really sad when I can't do that. But always keep your lines of communication and don't overthink your wedding and stay true to yourself.
Just be you.
Yeah. Stay true to yourself. Don't get bamboozled. Don't go down a TikTok rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No, perfect. Well, thank you for coming on.
Pleasure.
It's been lovely to have you.
Thank you.
And if you did enjoy listening to us or watching us over on YouTube or obviously on Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. So, give us a like, give us a comment, see what other things you want us to talk about. If there's other
get
things.
in touch, because the whole thing, when you listen to so many different podcasts out there, some in the wedding industry, our whole aim is for giving brides and grooms, brides and brides, grooms and grooms,
their best day.
Yeah, a chance to go, actually, I've never done it before. What do I need to think of? And we're giving you different options and different things to think about, throwing some different creative ways of making your wedding unique for you and what to think about. So if there's anything that you can think, I'm really stuck on this, can you give us some advice? I want to hear about alternative weddings more.
Yeah.
Or
Definitely.
can you look about more religious? No one talks about religious. We have had a vicar on, and Charlotte, who is very alternative, and she's absolutely amazing.
She was ace.
She's so brilliant. But get in touch. Anything that you want us to know, just literally get in touch.
Yeah, so like I say, give us a like, give us a comment, and we'll see you in the next one.